there everyone, Scapegoat Stephen. We're back with another Marvel Crisis Protocol report. This time it's another A-Force versus Guardians. We managed to squeeze in 2 of these games when we last recorded at Club. So we have specifically chosen alternate crises from our list, rerolled initiative, and priority even, and all that jazz. It should be noted that these were recorded before the changes. So this is what would be, I guess, currently known as the extended format rather than the standard format, but we feel that it's still a good idea to get these videos out just because they still give you a good idea of some of the movement tricks and stuff you can pull off with different teams. So let's jump into the lists. So as I went over in the previous video, pure A-Force, no splashes at all. Thought I'd give it a go for a few games just to see what it's like. So we've got She-Hulk, Angela, Black Widow, Black Cat, Captain Marvel, Crystal, Domino, Medusa, Okoye and Valkyrie. And we're toting A-Force Assemble, Advanced R&D, Blind Obsession, Indomitable, Mark for Death, Medpack, Mission Objective, Patch Up, Special Delivery and Stalwart Determination. And onto the Guardians roster, we've got Star-Lord, Drax, Ebony Maw unaffiliated with the Space Gem, Gamora, Ghost Rider is also unaffiliated, Groot, Nebula, Rocket, Rogue and Winter Soldier. We've got Battle Lust, Blind Obsession, Deadly Duo, Deal with the Devil, Field Dressing, Indomitable, Mark for Death, Medpack, Shhh, and We Are Groot. So this is what we ended up with. We ended up with 15 Threat, Gamma Wave, and Senators. So quite an interesting choice here. It was either 14 or 15. Those were our choices. So my opponent did have priority, so I chose 15 because I've got She-Hulk, and ended up with She-Hulk, Captain Marvel, Domino, and Okoye, A-Force Assemble, Blind Obsession, Medpack, Special Delivery, and Stalwart Determination. My opponent went with Star-Lord, Ebony Maw with the Space Gem, Groot, and Winter Soldier, Field Dressing, Indomitable, Medpack, Shhh, and We Are Groot. It'd be really interesting to see how this loadout would change under the new standard format. I'd be really intrigued to see quite how the game would have played out again. Bit more experience myself now into Ebony Maw and what Ebony Maw does. So yeah, would have been a really interesting matchup in the new standard meta. So just having a quick chat about what models each of us have got, some of the tricks and interesting things. Now Space Maw, as I said in the last video, is very much a new thing in the meta. So this was again a very early game against that. So Groot's going to down in the middle, directly opposite is deployed She-Hulk. Opponent then puts Star-Lord down. I then in response put down a Captain Marvel. He puts down Winter Soldier, I put down Okoye, he puts down Space Maw, I put down Domino. So obviously we start by powering up. And then we're going to start with Star-Lord. So obviously Senators and Gamma here. If the Senator appears on a flank, we're going to have to start taking damage from the Gamma on turn 1, which neither of us particularly want to do because we're both sort of attrition beating teams. So I think at this point it's where does the activation priority go? We've each got 4 characters. So we're actually going to start with Star-Lord. He is going to double move to this objective just behind this thing in front of us. And he fails to find the Senator. So Captain Marvel's going to go next. And she's going to double move towards the token at the top that's on top of that dumpster. Once I ask about Space Maw's threat range, should be noted. So yeah, just have a quick measure. How far can you go? Where can you threat to? Who doesn't want to go somewhere? So we do decide to go with Captain Marvel, and she is going to double move to that top point. Stop an inch away, and she's going to find the Senator. So not 100% great, but you know, we've got the Senator, it's fine. Winter Soldier is then going to move. And he's going to take make sure he's within 2 of the Gamma shelter that's actually behind this giant piece of scenery, size 4. He takes pot shots at Carol and does 4 damage on his first shot. Gets his rapid fire trigger and then does 1 damage on the follow-up, which means Carol has taken 5 damage from Winter Soldier. Ouch. Okoye is going to move. She's going to move to the other side of my home gamma. So that basically she's within one of it, but is stretching as far forward with her bodyguard protection as she can. Opponent's just going to move Groot. He's going to double move. He's not going to come to that centre objective, but he's going to stay within one, I believe, of his own gamma shelter. So looking at this now, considering things like Ebony Maw's Black Tongue ability, I'm going to move She-Hulk, double move her, so she's within one of the central gamma, but still within that bodyguard range of Okoye. My opponent obviously only has Space Maw to go, so he's going to place himself 2 with the Space Gem. He's then a Black Tongue She-Hulk, which I will bodyguard onto Okoye. Thankfully, because of the passing around of power due to my leadership ability when Carol took damage. So Okoye is going to take 3 damage from this all told, and then obviously the Black Tongue ability kicks in, and he's going to move her away from the gamma shelter. He's then going to Black Tongue She-Hulk. He ends up doing 2 damage and makes She-Hulk advance. Mistake by me on this part. Again, I forgot about her aggressive ability, where she can basically just then finagle her way back towards my opponent's Maw. So a little bit silly on my part for not remembering that. So yeah, she just takes that 2 damage, goes for a wander, and we advance her to, I think it's just outside of 2 of that gamma shelter. My opponent knows what he's doing here. Puts her there. And then Ebony Maw is going to pick up the size 4 and throw it at her. Just does another 2 damage again. She's not taking a huge amount of damage, but you know, she's taking a bit, and she's outside of the gamma shelter. And there's no enemies in the middle gamma shelter, so Domino is just going to double move herself to the central gamma just to get those points, keeping herself within 2 of She-Hulk. So that is going to end the first turn. So into turn 1, A-Force actually scored 4. So we've got the central gamma for 2, and we've got the senator for 2. My opponent scores 1 because he's got those 3 models around his home gamma. Unfortunately, 2 of my characters then daze due to the damage from the gamma shelter. So you've got Captain Marvel at the top of the screen, who took the 5 damage from Winter Soldier, and then you have Okoye just out in the middle of nowhere, who'd taken 3 from my opponent's Black Tongue from Space Maw. Luckily, that at least happens in the cleanup phase, so then they're ready, fresh, he says in inverted commas, for the next turn, albeit on their damage side. So going into turn 2. So you can see now my opponent placing that senator towards his own lines at the top of the screen. Start turn 2, I am actually going to play Blind Obsession on Domino, targeting Ebony Maw. And then I will also Stalwart Determination the other 3 characters. Unfortunately, doesn't protect against Ebony Maw's ability, because Black Tongue causes an advance, unfortunately, not a push or a throw. But it's some sort of protection against other characters. So Winter Soldier's going to go first. After there's much discussion about who goes where and who does what. Smart play here is Guardians are parked by 3 points. They really need to get back in to the scoring game, which obviously they will be able to now that I'm a little bit closer, and they can use their ranged attacks to bully me a little bit here, especially because a lot of my characters are out of any sort of good placement now because of that Black Tongue ability, and as I said, me forgetting about She-Hulk's advance from aggressive. So he's going to go Winter Soldier first. Winter Soldier is going to, really simple activation. He's just going to move forward, pick up the Senator, and then move back. There is a discussion here about actually does he try and do some damage into Carol, but the smart move here is get the points, fall back, get back into the Gamma over there. So I'm going to go next. I am going to activate She-Hulk. And she is just going to go for a casual walk towards my opponent's Gamma. Can't get herself within, not going to be able to get herself within one of the opponent's Gamma shelter, unfortunately. But she's going to go there. She can use superior weight training. Ebony Maw then plays Shhh. And she then smacks Ebony Maw and does 4 damage. She's then going to spend and throw Groot into Ebony Maw, which Groot only takes 1 damage, but Maw can spend to ignore collision damage, so he does so. It's a little unfortunate, but not unsurprising. There is a discussion here as well about Shush and just quite how good a card it is. If you suspect you're going to play against Ebony Maw with the Space Gem and someone has the Shush card, read it properly, understand what it does. It's very good. My opponent's then going to go with Ebony Maw, and he is going to Black Tongue She-Hulk. There's a little bit of discussion over who he targets. At this point, he does debate whether or not he goes after Domino, but he can't explode crits against her because of her ability. So in the end, decides to go into She-Hulk just to weigh a bit more damage into her. So he does 4 damage and obviously moves her with the advance. So he's just going to say, go over there, get out of the way, get out in the middle of nowhere. Again, I forget about aggressive. Then does it a second time and does 3 damage this time. He then makes me believe walk away again. Or did he? No, don't think he got the trigger on that second one, but he's going to Medpack himself so that he is healed. So not a lot done by either of us, but again, just whittling down She-Hulk with some damage. So I'm just going to move Okoye back to my home Gamma and get her within range of bodyguarding my Domino. Groot's going to go. He is going to root She-Hulk. And then he's going to go for a walk to contest the middle Gamma shelter versus Domino. He's then going to, once he gets there is a bit of a discussion here about does he want to come to this centre and fight me on the centre, especially when I haven't activated Carol, but Carol needs to get back to a Gamma shelter. So she's not going to do a huge amount this turn. So there we go, there goes the route on She-Hulk. Go for a move to the middle Gamma, and then he buys an attack into Domino, which I bodyguard onto Okoye. Okoye, in the same pattern as last turn, takes 3 damage, and he then pays to root Domino. So Domino is just going to walk to within 3 of Ebony Maw and shoot him. Despite having a decent number of dice, she does nothing. She does get the rapid fire though. Her second shot, she does have the 2 to then make Maw roll his physical defense, and only does 1 damage. So not great. Star-Lord is going to go. He is just going to double move onto that central objective to force my hand. And I'm going to go with Captain Marvel, who does binary, and then will double move herself also onto the central objective to stop my opponent from scoring at point. And that's going to be the end of turn 2. So yeah, turn 2, not very good scoring from me, only the 1 point for my home Gamma shelter. My opponent scores 3, obviously he's got his home Gamma shelter with Ebony Maw, he's got the Senator on Winter Soldier. So that makes it 5 to the A-Force and 4 to Guardians, moving into turn 3. So turn 3, opponent's going to start with Ebony Maw. He's going to Black Tongue She-Hulk. Just checking what power he's got available. So Black Tongue She-Hulk for just the 2 damage. He is then going to throw the car that is just in front of himself at She-Hulk as well, which does no damage. He's then going to use his Herald of Doom ability on She-Hulk, and he manages 5 damage and dazes her. So that's She-Hulk off the table. I don't have field dressing, so she's technically remains in play because she is dazed, so she doesn't get removed till the end of the turn. So her leadership still carries around. In other games as well, it's important to note she would technically body block things as well by just existing and being there. So yeah, that's She-Hulk essentially gone. So I'm going to activate Domino next. She is in range to take some pot shots at Ebony Maw, and she's got some decent number of these shots. Again, these extra dice with Blind Obsession. So she just does straight up dazes Ebony Maw with her first round of shots. She does pay to obviously make him roll on his physical defense because it is much lower than his other defenses. So it's always good to get him rolling on that instead of his, I think, 6 Mystic, I want to say. But I could be wrong. Basically, I have to pay 2 to force him to roll on his physical. So we daze Ebony Maw. We're then going to take a shot at Groot, because obviously he's right in front of us. And we could do with getting rid of his healing ability from as early as possible. Now that Maw is out of the way, at least for this turn. So we're going to shoot Groot and do nothing, but we do get our rapid fire trigger into Groot a second time, and it does nothing a second time. So we don't damage Groot at all. My opponent's going to go next. He's going to activate Stalwart. He's going to hit and run with Stalwart and then shoot at Okoye, who's only got that 1 health left. So he KOs Okoye and then moves on to my home Gamma. And I think, don't appear to have written down what he then does, but I shoots at someone. So I'm going to activate Captain Marvel. I'm going to move onto my opponent's Gamma with her. After much deliberation about do I stay on the centre or do I go on to the middle. So go there. We use binary, and then we will energy blast Winter Soldier after doing binary in hopes that we can do something to him. Because we're doing like a 6 dice, re-rolling a bunch of stuff attacks into Winter Soldier. The hope being that we could daze him, make him drop the Senator, and don't manage to, is the end result. I do 4 damage. I try to throw Winter Soldier with her throw. Unfortunately, I roll poorly. Don't roll poorly, sorry. My opponent plays Indomitable. That's what happens. And he stops the throw. So Groot's going to go next. He's going to smack Domino. And he's going to do no damage despite having that lower defense because of Blind Obsession. He's then going to attack her again. And does no damage a second time. Don't know quite what was going on with Groot there. He really should have done a bit more damage into Domino, but never mind. Winter Soldier's then going to go, because as you may have noticed, I've run out of characters. So Winter Soldier's going to go. He is going to Red Fury on Danvers. He gets no attacks, no damage, sorry. Got attacks, obviously. There's no damage into Danvers, but does use the push to push her small to get her off his Gamma, just to ensure that he's definitely going to score it. So he pushes her just that way a bit. So she's out of 1 of the middle Gamma and off his Gamma. Then gets the 2 assault rifle attacks in, or gets the assault rifle attack into her doing 4 damage. Gets rapid fire and bleed trigger. Then does 1 damage on the follow-up attack. So he then field dressings Space Maw uses We Are Groot via Groot, assault rifles Captain Marvel again, and KOs her. So yeah, there's a really big swing there. A really good turn 3 from my opponent. So for those of you keeping track at home, I scored 0 points this turn with only Domino left on the board. My opponent scores 6. He has the Senator and he has my home gamma and his home gamma, and we only have a disputed gamma in the middle between Groot and Domino. It is not looking good for the Guardians as we are on 5 and good for the A-Force even. The Guardians are looking great for the Guardians. They're on 10, A-Force is on 5. Going to be a really quick turn 4. I'm going to start with Domino. She is going to shoot Ebony Maw. Again, Blind Obsession is still active, so we want to try and get rid of him. He has been undazed thanks to a healing card and the field dressing card. So I shoot Ebony Maw, do 3 damage and daze him. Winter Soldier then shoots him back and does 2 damage into Domino. He then gets his rapid fire trigger, and he then dazes her in response. So that's the end of my turn. My opponent just ends the game there and scores 8 points for all the objectives, just pretty much finishing me off. So it's going to be 18 to the Guardians and 5 to the A4. So yeah, brutal end to that game. 18 for the Guardians, 5 for the A-Force. Not a lot of these cards are going missing or getting changed from the new sort of standard way of playing. Obviously, Medpack and field dressing are both gone, and Indomitable, I believe, become restricted. So, and then obviously on my side, Medpack and Blind Obsession are gone. I didn't use special delivery this game. Probably misplay on my part, just where I was sending people off to get various objectives. But live and learn. Again, one of the first games against Space Maw, really good control piece. And again, Guardians really excel at pumping the power of those high value, high threat pieces. So yeah, up next on the editing block, we have Web Warriors versus Midnight Suns. That will be using the new standard version of the rules. I've also got in the backlog an X-Men game versus Guardians, but I wanted to spread out the Guardians battle reports a little bit. That will be using, again, the old rules, so what is now currently extended. But next up will be Web Warriors versus Midnight Sun. So thanks for taking the time to watch, and I will see you again next time.